The most ruthless human society in history.
It is a community of warrior women based solely on female hegemony.
Who are the Amazon women? What did Amazon women sacrifice to become warriors?
We can use the term Amazon women in the sense of having no breasts, missing breasts.
Ruthless women who eat lizards for lunch. Where did he live in Turkey?
They really do exist today.
The Amazon women, called the most ruthless human community in history, were fast, agile, unapproachable women who were only in union with men for procreation, who could kill men mercilessly. These women fought more ruthlessly than a man. Their homeland was located in what is today the Black Sea. Why did these women, who turned male-dominated history upside down, turn out the way they did? You will watch a chilling episode about the Amazons, the most mysterious group of people in history. Amazon women. Throughout history, linguists have come to a few common conclusions about the meaning of the word Amazon. According to most studies, the word Amazon meant contrarian. These women had a separatist spirit.
According to some scholars, Amazon women, whose existence is based on myths and legends, are a community of warrior women based solely on female hegemony. In the ancient past, the Greeks referred to Amazon women as slaves who used and harmed men. And with the development of female wisdom, female consciousness, fertility goddess culture in Anatolia, Amazon women emerged as a matriarchal tribe. In addition, while these Amazon women were attractive and beautiful, delicate women in daily life, they were expressed in the literature as very strong warrior women who attacked and harmed their enemies mercilessly in a war.
In most research and archaeological excavations, it has been found that these warrior women did not have breasts. When we look at the origin of the word Amazon, it is among the most accepted views that it means without breasts. In ancient Greece, the word mazos is used in the sense of without breasts/lacking breasts.
As we know, Amazonian women use a multicultural language, and in this language, the letter in Amazon is used as a negative suffix. Mazon means breast. When we combine the two, we can use it to mean that Amazon women are breastless, lacking breasts. Apart from that, there are different narrations. For example, in mythology, this letter A is also used in the sense of increasing, and again because Mazon means chest, very breasted, very fertile. Again, it is based on the mother goddess culture.
According to chilling information in written sources from the Byzantine period, Amazon women did not eat and live like normal people. The deviance was reflected not only in their names but also in their way of life. Instead of bread for lunch, an Amazon woman would eat a lizard or a snake she caught with her hands. Living in such a ruthless way, Amazon women lived without men and hunted men as prey if necessary. Despite living matriarchal lives, Amazon women owned every man they laid eyes on. Flesh-eating, man-killing, separatist women lived in rebellion against the world. Amazon women kept men in their lives only to procreate. Men were in a way slaves to them. Amazon women fed their babies with lizard blood. Daughters were very precious. An Amazon girl who came into the world was raised in brutal conditions to become an Amazon woman. Even today, many men and women have disagreements. According to sacred sources, the first man to have a disagreement was Adam and the first woman was Lilith. Lilith was a woman of legend and an important figure in Judaism and Christianity. As Adam's first wife, she was created from clay by the Creator at the same time as Adam. According to religious sources, Lilith was the first woman to claim equality.
Lilith, a character from religious mythology, we cannot completely associate with Amazonian women, but of course we can. Because in this sense, we can call her an Amazon woman, because she is a strong demonic woman who is also against men and so on.
One day, during a quarrel with Adam, Lilith utters the unspeakable name of the Creator and is expelled from paradise. According to legend, Lilith took refuge on Earth in a cave near the Red Sea. Lilith was the first woman in written sources who could not get along with a man. So, after Lilith, where is the first Amazon woman in human history recorded?
Amazon women have advanced in many regions because they are a nomadic community. Due to the wars and their warrior characteristics, it is said and rumored that they were found in the city we call Libya today, Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Caucasus, Scythia, Thrace, even in the Aegean and Black Sea.
The Greeks did not look favorably on Amazon women, who defined themselves as unapproachable women. Because in Greek society, the head of the family was a man. To the Greeks, these rebel women were barbarians. The bad reputation of these women was slowly spreading all over the world. There are linguists who say that the word Amazon in Persian derives from the word Hamazan, meaning warriors. According to information from that period, it is said that the Amazons cut or burned their right breasts in order to use bows and spears comfortably. However, when we look at most of the artworks of the period, it is seen that Amazon women had both breasts. In some remarkable details, the right breast of Amazon women was mostly covered. According to ancient Greek sources, the first place where Amazon women existed, their homeland, was termed thousands of years ago.
They really existed in the region we call Clean Land in the past, which was called Amazot, and today in Samsun, term.
Amazon women first appeared in Themyscira, today's term. The ancient Greek historian and writer Herodotus referred to Term as the village where women warriors named Amazon lived. The Amazons of Termuli, like their fame, spread rapidly throughout the region. After the Black Sea warrior women, written sources mention the Sarmatians, the continuation of the Anatolian Amazons. The two prominent warrior leaders of the Amazons at the time were the older sister Penthesilea and her sister Hippolyta. The older sister fought on the front lines of the Trojan War. Another queen, Marina the Amazon, is one of the Amazon women who gained fame with the Trojan War. Marina led a ruthless war, defeated the Atlanteans and founded Izmir. She also gave her name to the first name of the city. Marina is an ancient city located in Aliaga district of Izmir. The city was completely destroyed by two major earthquakes in 17 and 106 AD. The ancient city lost its importance and faded away over hundreds of years.
Indeed, it was Marina who founded Izmir, and in this sense, during the Trojan Wars, Marina, along with other Amazon women, became the victor of this war, and there is already an ancient city named Marina in Aliaga district of Izmir.
Although the historical city founded by an Amazon woman in the Aegean was destroyed in the course of history, the victorious struggles and barbarism of the Amazon women, who had a warrior spirit, never ended. In Hellenistic and Roman history, many Amazon attacks on Asia Minor are mentioned. In antiquity, the Amazons were associated with many historical tribes.
There are types of Amazon women, for example Greek-type Amazon women, Eastern-type Amazon women. The Eastern type also includes Scythia and Persia. There is even a Persian type of Amazon woman.
The reasons why these man-hunting warrior women, whose traces are found in almost every period of history, hate men are chilling. There are two claims as to why Amazon women hated men.
Amazon women really see men as their slaves, and if an Amazon woman did not kill or fight a man in battle, or if she did not capture him as a slave and bring him back to the tribe, she was not considered an Amazon woman and was removed from the tribe. In this sense, men are actually a kind of power indicator for Amazon women. The more men they can upset or capture as slaves within the tribe, the more the cult of the mother goddess and the tribe actually increases.
Kabiledeki ana tanrıça kültü daha fazla artmış oluyor.
The Amazon women, who lived in different communities in what are today the Black Sea, Anatolia, and the Aegean, but had the same spirit and outlook on the world, were allegedly ambushed by armies of male warriors during several raids. In those ambushes, hundreds of Amazon women were brutally killed by male warriors. After these ambushes, Amazon women lived by the vow of death to men. According to the second claim, the men enslaved by the Amazons heard that a male god named Zeus had appeared in Anatolia and started to boast about it. "How could our slaves worship a male god named Zeus," they said, and killed thousands of men and maimed children in one night. According to some written sources, Amazon women offered the genitals of the men they killed in those mass killings to the mother goddess. After the deaths of thousands of men, the Amazons banned men from entering their country. This could change if a man served them. Amazon women would have men from outside the tribe to continue their lineage. The reason for being with these men was that they did not need a biological father. This is an indication that there was no concept of fatherhood in the Amazons.
The Amazons, of course, do not keep their descendants in the tribes because they use men as slaves, but they move away from the tribe for periods of 2 months and 3 months and reproduce their descendants through reproduction.
Among the Amazons, only women who were successful in battle were allowed to become pregnant. The woman who would become pregnant would go away from the tribe for 2 months and come back after she became pregnant. Amazon women who gave birth to a male child after becoming pregnant would hand this child over to his father in the neighboring tribe and never see his face again.
The males are left to their fathers outside the tribe, or they can be killed or maimed.
Amazon women lived in small tents. They had superior horsemanship skills. In battle and in their attacks on men, they wielded enormous arrows, bows, axes, and shields. In their warrior clothes, they had huge bodies, fearsome looks and biceps almost twice the size of a strong man.
Homer, who is recognized as the father of mythology, talks about the Amazons, who are described as women like men, and mentions that these Amazon women came to a place.
In other words, they see them only as tools, objects that they use to continue their lineage.
These women, whose traces were found until 1900 BC, lived with the concept of a self-governing nation. It is thought that the lineage of the Amazon women living on the Black Sea coast goes back to the Scythians. Scythians are considered to be Turks by many historians.
The emerging documents strengthen the ties between Scythians and Turks.
So, were the Amazon women among the first Turks?
There are also claims that Amazon women are Turkish. Especially in 1988, Jean David Kimball, Professor Dr. Jean Davids Kimball did research on this. By going to Kazakhstan and comparing the DNA of a Turkish girl with the DNA of the corpses from the kurgan, he claimed that this Amazon woman was Turkish.
In some tomb discoveries, researchers have uncovered tombs dating back to the 5th century BC. Very important data on these ruthless women, who were first the subject of the Amazon stories of the Greeks, have emerged. It has been reported that Amazon women were strong, sexually liberated and hunted women who were trained from childhood to fight in a region stretching from the eastern Black Sea to Mongolia and called Scythia in ancient Greek. Early excavations of Scythian burial mounds revealed skeletons buried with spears, axes, arrows and horses. Explorers and archaeologists realized they had made a mistake in their careful examination of the graves.
They started by examining the bodies of warriors found in the kurgans, even assuming that they were men. But when they found out that they were women, are these Amazon women or?
The grave markers were first thought to belong to men, because the idea of female warriors from that period was inconceivable. If there were dead people buried with tools of war, they had to be men. But decades later, DNA tests revealed the chilling truth. Not all of the remains belonged to men. In fact, most of them were women. Almost all of these women bore the scars of war. Severed ribs, broken skulls, broken arms, arrowhead marks embedded in bones. Each new tomb of Scythians has shown that these women, repeatedly described by the Greeks as Amazon warriors, may in fact have been Scythian women. Termite, Scythian, Greek or any other native. They had one thing in common: they were strictly forbidden to have sex with men for pleasure, and men could not live in Amazonian territory. However, for the continuation of their lineage, the Amazons visited the neighboring tribe of the Gargarians once a year, and any male children born were either sent to their fathers or killed. Girls were raised by their mothers and trained in agriculture, hunting, and warfare.
Girls are being trained for the battles they will face later in life. They are taught to shoot an arrow. They are taught to use the bow. They are taught to use swords. They push them forward.
Amazon women, who saw fighting as a way of life, did not even hesitate to injure their bodies to become better warriors. The Amazons, whose expertise in archery is legendary, used not only arrows, spears and shields, but also double-sided and sharp axes called labres. Over time, these axes became their symbol. Nearly 4,000 years after the Amazons, in 2019, archaeologists in Russia discovered a tomb containing the bodies of 4 women. The youngest of the women was in her early teens and the oldest in her mid-40s. The oldest woman was buried with various weapons and an embroidered headdress. Another woman in her 20s was buried in the position of a horse rider. Further analysis showed that the women were people who lived in the 4th century BC. Both the region and the time period suggested that these women could have been Amazon women who encountered the Greeks. So why were Amazon women usually on the losing side of the battle in Greek stories of heroism?
The Greeks tried to eradicate the existence of Amazonian women from history. Because, after all, men have always been a powerful being, women who would take over their sovereignty, so women have always been directed to be mothers, to raise children, to take care of the house, something that started from those times.
This is southern Siberia. Researchers tracing the Amazons in the Republic of Tuva found the mummy of an Amazon warrior who died about 2,600 years ago. She was an Amazon warrior girl, 13 years old. She was buried in her grave with her tools of war. Researchers spent 30 years studying the mummy to share this information with the press. Found in 1988, the mummy was initially thought to be that of a boy, but genetic analysis revealed that the body wrapped in fur belonged to a girl. Researchers said the findings point to the brave and fearless female warriors of the Scythians. The Scythians, a nomadic people, made several raids from Siberia to Anatolia and Europe between 900 and 200 BC. A mummy in Tuva, presumed to have died at the age of 13, has shed light on many mysteries. The young warrior was buried with a bow, 10 bronze arrows, several spears, an axe and a long rope. Amazons kept their weapons with them even in their sleep. The fact that this 13-year-old girl had so many weapons also indicates that she was a good warrior and completed her training at an early age. In ancient Greece, Plato was also interested in Amazon women. In Plato's Laws, it was emphasized that a state should train women as well as men, in order not to be half a state. Plato said that it was necessary to train warriors just like Amazonian women, and that men and women should be equal in order to be successful in peace and war. While Plato was talking about equality, the story of Hercules was quite different. According to a legend, one of the 12 famous tasks that Hera, the wife of Zeus, gave to Hercules in Roman mythology, was to steal the sash from the Amazon queen Hippolyta. In order to fulfill the mission, he went to Term, Samsun, where the Amazon women live today, and asked Queen Hippolyta for her sash. When the queen refused to give him his sash, a bloody war broke out between Hercules and his soldiers and the Amazon women. In this bloody battle, many of the Amazon warriors died and Hercules won the war. On his return, Hercules took with him not only the belt but also the Amazon princess Antiope. Antiope, who was gifted to Theseus, one of the legendary kings of Athens, lived in Athens as the king's concubine and somehow fell in love with him. Although it is not in their soul to fall in love, this story includes an Amazon woman falling in love. The Amazon women, who witnessed this and survived the battle with Hercules, united with their Scythian allies and came to Athens. Their aim was to rescue the captive woman. They came to Athens and started a war against the Greeks, both to rescue Antiope and to take revenge. In this war, Antiope fought on the side of the Greeks, while the Amazon women suffered a great defeat and had to return to their own lands. Betrayal was added to this love story. Amazons have often appeared on the stage of history, and with passionate and great love. Some historians of Alexander the Great wrote that the Amazon queen Thalestris visited him and had a child with him. However, several other historians of Alexander the Great and his most reliable secondary source, Plutarch, refute this claim. Amazons are referred to as alpine girls in the works of Dede Korkut. Amazons are claimed to have lived in Azerbaijan. Various researchers even claim that Tamris Khatun, the first female ruler of the Scythians, was an Amazon woman. During the Renaissance in Europe, the Amazons continued to be a source of interest. Francisco de Orellana named the river he reached in 1542 Amazonas in Portuguese in reference to the indigenous women warriors. Famous sailors of the period, such as Christopher Columbus and William Raleigh, also described the Amazon warriors. The uncertainty as to whether the Amazons actually lived or not has many underpinnings. In history, Achilles' enemy Aeneas was one of the 12 commanders who took part in the Trojan War on the side of Queen Penthesilea. His name means quickness. He was famous for mutilating and sterilizing the male slaves under his command. Asteria was the sixth Amazon killed by Hercules. Hippolyte was an Amazonian queen with a magical belt given to her by her father, the god of war Ares. The Amazons have gone down in history as ruthless women because they rebelled due to disagreement between man and woman, were stronger than a man and were programmed to kill. Many modern scholars consider the Amazons to be a purely Greek invention. According to them, there never was a community of women called the Amazons. Research reveals that female warriors from the vast steppes of Central Asia influenced other ancient cultures that came into contact with Scythian nomads. Adventurous stories and historical accounts of Amazon-like warrior women have appeared in Egypt, Persia, the Caucasus, Central Asia, India and even China. In a story that began with Adam and Lilith, the curtain is unlikely to close and the lights are unlikely to go out.
The story of the real godmother Assunta, Puppeta Maresca. How did a beauty queen become a mob boss? How did Italy's first female mafia boss take over her family's leadership? How did she earn the nickname Puppeta? How did she make ruthless decisions? How did she defy the criminal world? Today we take a closer look at the story of Assunta Maresca, nicknamed Puppeta, the real godmother. What is your favorite mafia movie? The Godfather. Once Upon a Time in America, Goodfellas, Scarface. Or think of other mafia movies. Even though their stories are different, they all have one thing in common. That is, the protagonist, the mafia father character, is a man. When we think of the mafia, most of us think of tall, scary, bald men. Racketeering, harsh words, scary looks are always visualized with male characters. Of course, a beauty queen who can make the criminal world tremble with fear is one of the last options we can think of. However, one of the most memorable bosses in history is a woman. In fact, she was once crowned the Queen of Beauty. Behind her beautiful face lies a dark, ruthless, and criminal past. We're talking about Assunta Maresca, also known as Puppetta. Born in Castellammare di Stabia, a town near Naples, Assunta was the center of attention in her early teens. She won a local beauty contest, the first time she was recognized for her beauty. In those years, when she was nicknamed Puppetta, or doll, because of her beautiful face, it was not easy to predict that this beautiful woman would become one of the most ruthless bosses of the criminal world. Her father was a member of the Camorra Mafia organization. Therefore, many of the people around her were also involved in crime, and fate had already begun to weave its web for her. The first step in her march from beauty queen to mafia boss was her marriage to Pasquale Simonetti, a mafia boss, in 1955. Assunta Maresca, who was 20 years old at the time, was not yet aware of the tragic events that awaited her. Assunta Maresca's husband Pasquale Simonetti was murdered just 3 months after the wedding. Moreover, the person responsible for her husband's death was Antonio Esposito, who had also witnessed their wedding. The local beauty queen of Naples was now a widow, 6 months pregnant, and her desire for revenge grew stronger by the second. Assunta Maresca, nicknamed Puppetta, now had only one goal: to find Antonio Esposito, the man who left her widowed and her child fatherless, and to make him pay for what he had done to her. And it didn't take her long to achieve this goal. In pursuit of her husband's killer, Maresca found her enemy on the busiest street in Naples. He did not even blink as he avenged his enemy in broad daylight on the busiest street in the city. She shot Antonio Esposito dead. The beauty queen was now a bloody killer. And she didn't seem remorseful. "I gripped the gun tightly with both hands because I was afraid of missing," she testified during her police interrogation, revealing the coolness with which she committed the murder. Puppetta's beauty and composure caused not only the Italian press but the world press to follow the case. He was now a murderer whose story was known all over the world. It took 4 years for the trial to begin. Puppetta stood before the court and did not back down, saying, with this heartache, would do the same thing again today. He argued that his murder was in self-defense, claiming that those who killed his wife would attack him. As the trial continued, news of another assassination shocked the public. Maresca and his wife's other wedding witness had also been assassinated. The perpetrators were not found for a long time, but it was believed that Maresca's brother, Ciro, had committed the murder. Maresca soon claimed responsibility for this murder too. She said she carried out the attack to avenge her husband's death. This move would make her the leader of the Camorra family. During her 10-year sentence, Maresca became a real mother and godmother in prison. But the cracks in the Camorra family had not healed during these 10 years. Raffaele Cutolo from within the family formed a new criminal organization and started threatening Maresca. This also meant an internal conflict. Maresca's message to Cutolo at a press conference was clear and unambiguous. "If you touch my family, I will kill every single one of your murderers, your henchmen, your women and your children in their cradles." There was no telling how far Maresca would go. In the midst of the internal conflicts, there was another incident that made his name known to the world. On August 2, 1980, 85 people were killed and more than 200 injured in a bomb attack in the waiting room of Bologna train station. The incident, known as the Bologna Massacre, was one of the bloodiest attacks of the Years of Lead, a period marked by political violence in Italy.
Scoppio di bombole, scoppio della caldaia della centrale termica che è sotto la seconda classe della ferrovia. C'era il rifiuto psicologico di accettare l'idea dell'attentato, perché Bologna è stata sempre una città abbastanza tranquilla dove la gente...
8 members of the far-right Nuclei Armati Rivoluzionari were released less than a year later. A year later, Maresca was arrested and sentenced to 4 years in prison for ordering the murder of Aldo Semerari, a medical examiner thought to be involved in the incident and in contact with neo-Nazi groups. In 1982, Semerari's headless body was found in a stolen car. Maresca's life has always been the center of media attention. In 1958, Italian director Francesco Rosi made the movie La Sfida, based on her story. In 1967, 2 years after her release from prison, she played herself in an Italian movie. In 2013, Pupetta's life was made into a TV series. Assunta Maresca, known as the first female boss of the Neapolitan Camorra Mafia, died at the age of 86. The prefecture banned public funerals for Maresca to avoid star treatment. What do you think about Pupetta? We look forward to your comments. See you in the next video.